Los Anjos. Who has the first question?
Benson, obviously, this isn't a position you're in very often in your career. I'm kind of wondering, you've been in this position before recently, needing to bounce back from a loss that not a lot of people expected you to have. Do you learn anything this time around from the previous one that makes it easier to go forward, or is everything just different?
That's a good question. I would say everything's a little bit different, but you can learn from your past mistakes. You can learn from your past experiences. Definitely learning from my past experiences. Anytime you come off a loss, learning how to get better, how to use it as a positive, how to use it for motivation, how to use it to help drive you towards your next 7-fight win streak in the UFC and getting the belt back and all that sort of stuff.
I mean, is that where you stand now, like just trying to build that confidence back up to the point where you do say things like, I'm going to get another 7-fight winning streak?
I'm still a pretty confident guy. I just lost, but my confidence isn't shaken. I'm still pretty healthy. I know Dos Anjos is still pretty healthy. We can run it back another 10 more times tonight. As the kind of sort of guy I am. So confidence-wise, that's not shaken. But
were you able to look at the fight again once you got backstage? I know you were a little sketchy on whether or not it was an early stoppage or not. Did you see it again back here?
We got to catch a couple of the replays, before they stopped it, the backroom broadcast.
Any thoughts different from what you said in the cage?
No, actually, it was pretty much confirmed everything that I said inside the cage. With the flash knockout, they happen. It was a flash knockout. I remember dropping my back at the fence. I was like, oh, damn it, that didn't look good at all. That's a bad thing right there. Wanted to latch onto a single leg, push him up against the cage. Hopefully take a couple shots, back of the head, let the cobwebs clear a little bit, take some time, and then start working from there. But as soon as I start, to come around and go on to the single leg, Big John did his job.
And for Rafael, obviously, I know you said whatever the UFC wants to do with you, but you've put yourself in a pretty important position to be able to maybe wait around and see what happens, or what do you do from here?
First of all, I got 3 fights in 4 months. This is pretty much, and so I don't know about my future right now, and so whatever UFC say, I'm gonna do. So right now, the only thing I'm thinking, I need to give some attention to my family right now, and get some rest. And whatever comes after is on UFC hands.
You told us the other day that you thought you could stand with him and strike with him. Is this exactly how you saw things playing out when you thought about this fight?
Yeah, for sure. I have pretty much confidence on my stand-up game, and which I've been training a lot. And so I came to fight 5 rounds because my first main event, I never fought 5 rounds before, but the game plan was coming with patience, but throwing hard, and that's what I did.
Questions, guys? Matt with the hot hand.
I didn't want to hog it, but Jordan, obviously a huge win for you. We talked the other day about moving beyond that prospect label that you've seemed to have had. Is this the kind of win and the kind of performance that moves you past that prospect label in the UFC?
It is, yeah. I want these co-main event spots, these main event spots. That's where I belong, and I just hope the UFC keeps giving me these opportunities because that's what I want is those spots, and I proved it today, and I'm gonna prove it again, and that's where I belong is these big spots.
Do you want to get back in there very quickly and get back active again?
Yeah, we'll see. We always play it by ear when we get back home and talk about it a bit. You don't ever want to get in there too quick. I've done that before. A couple weeks notice type thing, but take our time, figure it out. But yeah, I want to be right back in there with a contender and at the top again.
And then obviously, I know it's not something you're going to want to talk about, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask if there were distractions, obviously, today leading into this fight. Obviously, you didn't seem to show any in the fight itself, but with everything that has gone on in the last 24 hours, was there distractions leading into it?
No, not at all.
And if I could move on to Ben real quick. Obviously, a huge win for you as well, and pretty stunning way to get back into the UFC. You just talk us through, your emotions right after that went down.
Super pumped, super excited to get the finish, but above all, just to be back here, man, was just extremely grateful, man, to Joe Silva, Dana White, Lorenzo Fertitta for giving me the opportunity. I just wanted to do everything I could to come out here and make sure it wasn't a bad decision on their part, and kind of just, make sure I could start the show off with a bang and give the crowd something to look forward to for the rest of the fights.
And obviously, you hadn't been in the cage in a while in terms of fighting, but you've been preparing for other fights that obviously didn't happen. So was there any type of rust whatsoever?
No, I felt good, man. I definitely felt good, but it's definitely been a long road back. I've been training since January. I was trying to fight in March. Then it turned to April. Then it turned to May. Then it turned into June, and then it turned into August. And it's just, it's the fight game. It's unfortunate, but once again, very fortunate that UFC was able to come in, pick me up, and finally give me the fight, and I was still able to perform very well.
Okay. Then if I could just move to Max real quick. At what point in that fight were you asking yourself, why does this guy not go away?
After the first round, oh, man, I was catching him. A lot of times when I land my spinning back kick, especially into the stomach, a lot of guys choose to fall down, and he didn't, so... It was a tough fight, and, man, he's a fighter. He came out 10 days' notice, guys, 10 days' notice. He's a fighter, and he came and he brang it.
Did you expect him to be able to bring that much? I mean, like you said, super short notice. You were a massive favorite in this fight, like 10-1. Did he bring more to the table than you thought that he'd be able to?
No, not at all. I only got to watch one fight of him, and that was with Justin Buckles, the one that he lost, but that guy gets cracked, and he just keeps coming. He's like the Korean zombie. He's like the white zombie, I guess you call him. But he just, he walks forward to everything, man. I was hitting him with hard shots, and some shots he looked dazed, and he'd fall back. And then, like, half a second later, he's throwing, like, 50 punches. I'm like, what is going on? I was tripping out. I was like, is this a dream? It was a fun fight.
What can you take, like, out of a war like that where you've got a guy that's just dropping his hands and looking at you like, hey, whatever you throw at me, you're not going to knock me out?
I was in it for the long run, If you wanted to go to the decision, let's do it. And I don't. You just take away that I got a chin too, He was catching me with some good shots. I was catching him, and it just it was a fun fight, man. I had super fun, and UFC robbed me from my fight of the night.
Question right here.
My question's for Max. Did his confidence coming into the ring with just 10 days' notice and you being a heavy favorite, did that catch you off guard, his confidence starting off in the fight?
No, not at all. I took a fight on 10 days' notice, and this game is all about confidence. If you're going in there not confident, this is not the sport for you.
And did his taunting or anything serve as a little bit of extra motivation? Like you talked about having your own demons and stuff in your camp and being a little bit distracted. Did that kind of bring your focus back in during the fight?
Yeah, I kind of felt disrespected. I was like, wow, this guy's taunting me, but it is what it is. Some people fight like that. As long as I kept telling myself, my corner kept telling me keep my cool and keep pop shotting and picking and tagging. So sooner or later a finish was gonna come, and we got it.
Hi, yes, this is for Chaz. Just wanted to ask about your Oklahoma connections, and you had a pretty big contingent, it seemed like, cheering you on tonight. Just talk about the crowd in Tulsa and being back in Oklahoma.
Yeah, it was nice to be back here in Oklahoma. It's always cool to fight anywhere close to home, but I wrestled at I had a stint for a year at Oklahoma University Wrestling and then Oklahoma City University as well. So I'm very familiar with the area. My teammates, we got Johnny Hendricks, Jared Rochalt, used to have Jake Rochalt and Shane Roller that all went to Oklahoma State University. So we got a big following here from the Oklahoma in general, And then not to mention I grew up 5 hours away, so I had a ton of people that made the drive from my hometown of Azle and just the Fort Worth area in general. I have a pretty big following there, made the drive up for the fight. So it was really nice to fight in front of everybody I knew, and have a good fan base here.
For Mr. Latest, please. Did your corner talk to you in between rounds about whether or not they thought you had won the first round or not?
No, he didn't say it. He just told me to try to take him down and make my points. But at the right moment, I remember what my Muay Thai coach said every time: believe in your hands, go forward, don't walk backward. You know, pressure him and use your hands. Just believe in your hands. That will happen.
Can you talk a little bit about, sort of this pretty amazing resurgence that you've had since you've been back here? I mean, finish like this against a guy who hasn't been finished in that kind of way basically ever in his career.
Yeah, basically it's everything about confidence, like he was saying. And I've been working for a long time, a stand-up game, Muay Thai and boxing. And all my coaches since the beginning, they said, that is just, you have to believe in your hands. You are not only a jiu-jitsu fighter, you have heavy hands. You just have to be confident and use it. Of course, training a lot, and this is exactly what I did, and it's working. I
mean, this is beating a guy of that level puts you in a good position in the division as well. What kind of thing are you looking for moving forward after this?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know exactly where where UFC will put them in what situation, what position. But, it's up to the UFC. I will be ready for the next challenger for sure.
Any other questions, guys? All right, we appreciate your support. See everybody in Sacramento.